Yep.
All right.
All right, first of all, I just want to congratulate all the girls in North Carolina. Flag football being sanctioned as a sport for us in high school. It was amazing to have them come out yesterday, join the guys. Big celebration with the team. Really proud to be a part of that. And, you know, just thinking about it, like, these are trailblazers. You know, they're the first ones to go out there, and the courage it takes to go into the sport, a sport that they love, but to be the first representatives this way. You know, as you can imagine, you know, these 16 and 17-year-old girls right now, what this will mean, you know, 5, 10, 15 years from now, to know like we were the first ones to do it. So super proud to share that moment with them.
Hey Coach, just looking at the invite guys.
Yeah.
Patrick Payton, you know, had the length and the speed. 2 questions. Can EJ coach up his run defense, and what does he have to do to show that he can make the 91 man?
Oh, just really excited to have all these guys come out here, and you know, for us, the greatest value in it is going through our drills, where we have like an apples to apples comparison to see do these guys fit with what we're doing, and we'll go through this camp and make some decisions on some of the guys that haven't officially been on the roster.
Dave, with Lee and Monroe and Sam, obviously this is a limited contact practice. What do you need to see out of them this weekend to kind of get a good feel for what they can do?
Just a good head start for hearing the language, ball getting snapped, putting the ball in play. I mean, simple things as that, you know, getting your stance, alignment, assignment, always starts off that way. Watching those guys kind of take to that part of it, and the coaching great energy from those guys out there today. And of course, in this mode, we get to do a little bit of 11 on 11, which for all of us coaches is really exciting for us because we're not in that mode with the rest of the group. But to see them work against each other, knowing these are the guys that are going to make each other better on a day-to-day basis. We talk about practice is everything, and this is where we make us. And got to see a little glimpse of that today. Lee kind of, he has a real sense for getting off on the snap, feeling the cadence right now, and guys just learning how to work together. We can play full speed without the contact, if we do those things right. So I was really proud of the guys, the way they handled it today.
Coach, I know you talk really, really highly about Chris Braswell coming out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Today, I couldn't help but notice, at least in stature, there's a lot of Robbie Anderson vibes. Do you get those same vibes from him?
Yeah, I try to stay away from comparisons, but I'll be fair. Tall guy like that with the speed that he has, there are some similarities there. And Robbie was able to make an impact pretty early just with his ability to, to capture the offense. And really that's the challenge that's out there for Chris is how quickly can we get him up to speed in our concepts, knowing where to fit in, the splits. There's a lot of things he's got to work on, as we're, going through it today. And I'll get a chance to watch the tape. But, all these guys, we're throwing a lot at them and we're trying to challenge them in that way mentally. And but physically, he certainly looked great. And, a couple of balls a little bit behind him. He's faster than you think. That's a big guy moving. And so just getting used to that type of a target moving across, the middle for Haynes today, that'll be something that they'll be able to work on.
Dave, deciding to have this on the second weekend, does that help at all with retention when you bring it back for OTAs? Is there any sort of advantage in that regard, or what was the decision behind?
Yeah, there are pros and cons. We've traditionally done it on Mother's Day weekend, not on Mother's Day for all the moms out there. So we cram it into 2 days. But the pros on that approach is as guys go through a camp last weekend, not all of them are retained. So it gives us an opportunity to kind of bring a guy out that's been somewhere and kind of he's acclimated a little bit, to get a look at them that way. On the flip side of it, when you get guys in that first weekend, sometimes you have the first opportunity to keep those guys around on your roster. So there's two ways to look at it. We decided because of the flow of where we're at with our teaching progression with our current players, and then allowing these guys to kind of take a breath, kind of collect their thoughts about what they're about to embark on this year. It just kind of gives them a little bit of ability to kind of wrap their brains around what's happening, and then of course the just having a chance to look at other rosters and guys that free up.
Dave, pretty consistently with Dan, given guys with some sort of NFL pedigree, second chances. Kenyon Green comes in here. What was the thought process there? I know you were moving around, so
yeah.
I didn't seem too much, but what can he do to kind of establish himself during this 2-week day?
Yeah, first of all, just the movement evaluation, right? We take him through our drills, a couple of team opportunities in there, but, a guy that was a first-round pick, really talented guy that, Joe and Goody had graded pretty highly coming out. And, this is kind of right out of, Coach Carroll, Pete's book of just let's just see if these guys have had an opportunity over the course of years to figure out how they want to do this and how they want to play the game. So I'm excited for him to have this opportunity and just be able to, go in there, look at the film, sit down and see if he's a guy that can help us.
You just touched on the fact that guys are having a lot thrown on them this weekend in particular. What is your approach to just try to ensure retention, and what do you hope that they walk away with?
Yeah, the overarching philosophy of our team, talking about our play style, the things that matter to us, trying to give them a sense of the team that they're joining, what they're coming into, where we're at currently, and the conversations that are happening before they get here. So there's some of those conversations, and of course, just from a basics level, like how do we put the ball in play? What does it sound like in the huddle? How do we break a huddle? How do we get up to the line with urgency on defense? Here's how we communicate. Here's how we adjust. So it's all the kind of beginner, 100, 200 level type of stuff that we're working with our guys, and we'll challenge them with a little bit more, a little bit more tomorrow. But for us, it just gives us a sense of who is this learner, and we've had some exposure with some of the guys, through the process, but there's nothing like when you get them into the building and kind of see how they operate. Do they work better in a walkthrough setting? Do they work better when they're writing things down, and kind of learn the learners at this point, so that we know who we're working with when they come back in with everybody else.
What does that do for the other coaches who are going to be forced to go back to the basics and start doing that?
Well, this is also a developmental opportunity for the coaching staff. You know, we had Mike Verkovici presenting on some of our offensive philosophy things. Keyshawn Coleman was able to install some pass plays. Dean Petzing was with the offensive line putting in the protections and runs this morning on the defensive side. And Laramini was, you know, running the coverage unit and doing that. You know, Mayor Shadari was able to work with the OLBs, talking about how to get lined up in formation, and you know, Kevin Peterson, all of our guys had opportunities to present in front of the group. This is how I learned. Daryl Bevel, who's here, was gracious enough to give me opportunities in the past to be able to get up there and speak in front of the group. You think you have it all figured out, and you got this process and you have your outline, and all of a sudden you look up and 20 minutes went by and you're like, oh, I forgot to say this or that. And it's just a part of the process of our developmental approach, not just with our players, but also with our coaches.
As you continue to build the roster into sort of what you want it to be, does it make it easier to evaluate the guys when you sort of winnow down what you're looking for in a player at all?
Absolutely, and it really defines it for us because we've been on the field doing drills now, and with our guys, the same drills we're putting the players that are here through, and so we have this good apples to apples comparison of what does his movement skills look like compared to the guys that we have, and that gives us a good sense. And that's how you approach the draft as well. You're trying to have a vision of what this player can be. This camp is so important as we look at these guys so that we can kind of compare them and challenge our roster first, which is what we always talk about.
Dave, going back to Chris Brazel, coming from Tennessee, a very unique offense, how hard could be like a learning curve for him to the NFL, but also the opportunity you have just to teach him your concepts and your route running?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement for all of the guys that are here. There aren't very many offenses that really mimic what we're trying to do in the pros, you know, to a T. There's degrees of plays that do look similar, and there's schemes that we take from college, and there's schemes that college takes from the pros. But the language is different. How we call plays, the fact that we do call plays, colleges are now starting to call their plays into the quarterback, but not all of them operate in that system. So it's a pretty fair assessment for all of them. For wide receivers as well, you know, particularly if an offense plays a receiver left or right, they kind of stay on that side. Learning how to flip formations, do all that, that's a part of the learning process.
Dave, when you guys were doing team stuff, was Brad calling the stuff you wanted to do? And just what was that like for you actually being out here on the grass while somebody else is calling plays?
Yeah, I mean, this is the third rookie minicamp in a row where Brad's called it, and that goes with that developmental thought process. And he's done such a great job this spring of implementing our system, looking at our self-scout, trying to find wrinkles to bring value to what we're doing, and then also just refining the things that are core for us that look good. And so love where we're at just in our starting point with our run game, play actions, and a couple of the third down and red zone concepts that were sprinkled in today, and we'll add a little bit more tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, right. I'll cover it up. I'll hold my hand over it.
So how was your first day, Rookie Minicamp?
I mean, it's great to be back on the football field. I mean, I haven't been out here on the football field since January 1st, so I mean, it was great to just be back out there, really.
But the team put out a video of you in your Zoom interviews, and you had obviously studied and sort of were aware. How much did that help you sort of knowing play calls and formations and things like that?
I mean, it's definitely good to be kind of familiar with their combination calls, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, it was just kind of a translation thing. You know, football is really just the same language, just different terms.
Monroe getting the first round contract, like the contract out of the way, and just being able to come out here and play somewhat free. Is that kind of like a weight lifted off your shoulders a little bit?
I mean, definitely. At the end of the day, like, contract is, you know, a contract. I came here to play football, so and that's what I'm here to do. I'm happy to be back out here.
What are you trying to get out of a non-contact practice with the offensive line?
I mean, a lot of it is just, you know, getting used to playing next to the guys. Like, communication is super important, but also just, like, technique. Like, you can kind of slow down and work on your techniques, especially because, you know, it's not live. I mean, it is kind of live, but at least there's no tackling and no helmets and pads and stuff.
We know you've been meeting with Joe Gilbert leading up to the draft and but what is it like being on the field, coached by him?
It's definitely I'm pretty used to getting screamed at by a coach. I told him after practice, like, I've missed getting screamed at by a coach, so it's good to be back here again. 100%. It's definitely calming down now. I might fall asleep here in the next 5 hours, but it'll be good.
I know you were.
What's the getting to know you process like for the rookie class as a whole? I mean, when you put a bunch of people who haven't been around each other together.
I mean, it's really just a forced conversation. I think at breakfast I was around a couple of offensive linemen and no one was talking. I was like, all right, let's get an icebreaker going. I was like, tell me something about yourself or something like that. At the end of the day, like, everyone's tired, but, we got to get to know each other. Offensive line, everyone has to know everybody. Communication is important. The bond's what, holds us together.
What did you learn? Yeah. Sorry? So what did you learn during that icebreaker?
A couple guys like to fish, like to play video games. Some people like to watch Netflix. A couple different guys doing a couple different things, but we're all trying to maybe ask if they golf so they could come donate with me, but I don't know if they're if they're up for it. I'll try to teach them.
Settling process for you been like here in Charlotte?
I mean, it's definitely super close to home. I pulled up here. I left my house at 7 o'clock. I got here at 10:30. So I mean, it's definitely close to home, but for the most part, I mean, it's just kind of getting to see all the greenery, all the stuff around the city, and I think maybe over the next month here, as I'm here for minicamp, I'm gonna get to know Charlotte more.
You left Charleston at 7?
Not this morning. Yesterday.
On the icebreaker side, is that something you feel like you're taking on as the number one, as the first round pick, as like sort of, I don't want to say like leader of the rookie class, but is that something that you feel comfortable taking on and want to do more of?
I mean, for me, if I was the first pick, if I was the last pick, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be me. So if that was, talking to people like I am now, and that's what it is. So, I mean, I'm just trying to get to know people. I'm trying to, be brothers with my offensive lineman at the end of the day. I know it's a different league and all, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to come to work, you're going to want to like your coworkers, if that makes sense.
How much of that do you feel already, the fact that it is a different league than college and every other level that you played so far?
I mean, I've definitely noticed that, they definitely take care of your body a little more. I think I did a warm-up here more than I ever did when I was at Georgia. So, no offense to Georgia, but, man, that's just a different league.
What are your just initial impressions with Lee, just outside of his size?
Sorry?
Lee Punter, big 92. What are your just initial impressions of him from what you see?
It's funny. I was talking to him. I said he looked just like one of my strength coaches, and I ended up texting my strength coach that, and he just laughed about it too. But yeah, definitely a big guy, big personality. I think that most defensive linemen have personalities like that. He actually knew Christian Miller, so we talked about him a little bit.
Very good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
What's up? Great.
I gotta ask you, you used to wearing that single digit.
Yes.
You got on double digits now. Tell me about how you feel in 92 and why you chose that number.
No, I feel great at 92. It's no meaning for the 9, but I had to keep some with 2 in it just because July 2nd, 2002, 2 baby girls. Yeah.
You said that they told you that big guys couldn't wear single-digit numbers.
Yeah, big guys can't wear single-digit numbers, so I'm gonna make this 92 look single-digit.
How are you gonna do that?
Just be me, be myself, and make it look good, and it's gonna be good.
How much fun is it for you to just be out here back on the grass?
No, it's a blessing, really. It's a blessing. I love football. I love this game, and I'm just blessed for the opportunity.
Where do you see yourself just fitting into that defensive line with what they want to do there?
Wherever I need to be, I feel I'm gonna be successful, and I can help dominate.
You told us after the draft that Derek Brown was one of your idols, kind of. You got a chance to see him in this building yet?
No, I ain't seen him yet. But I talked to him after I got drafted and those type of aspects.
Just ask Monroe about this, where you've noticed the biggest difference so far, if you have yet, between just the progression now to the NFL. Have you felt it or experienced that in any way so far?
It's pretty. At the end of the day, it's just all football. But what I say is different is just the backfield sets, the plays, and all aspects.
You were pretty vocal as you were going through your drills. How do you describe your practice style?
I just like to have fun. I like to juice myself up, juice guys up around me, and if you got juice I feel like energy just rub off, and if everybody around you got juice, that's a scary defense.
What does that look like, the process of you juicing yourself up?
I'm ready to run through something.
Is it harder though when it's a non-contact practice to get the energy, or is it easy?
No, I think it's more fluid. You build up your routine and your technique through the slow of it, and when it started to get fast, you've been ripping it. Now when it get fast, you can run through somebody and play ball.
What's the give and know process like for a rookie class to come in here? You guys have never met, to be dumped in the same place. What's that been like the last 24 hours or so?
Oh, it was smooth. I think them guys already know me. The combine from the Senior Bowl. I'm always Lee Hunter in person on social media. I feel I'm always this way, so I feel them guys.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.